Microsoft's answer to Helldivers is finally here. Okay, please hear me out. Hypercharge Unboxed. Every boy's dream at one point. I mean, well, you know. Besides the obvious one. Being a toy in a game like Halo, and it's an amazing concept. This game will take you back to when you'd have friends over to play video games while y'all ate cosmic brownies and drank chocolate milk while listening to Crush 40 in your parents' living room. I love the idea of a setting that gives Toy Story characters trauma and PTSD.
There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
So long, partner.
They're penetrating the bureaucracy!
And I hated it. I played this a couple years ago on the channel and wanted to love it so bad, but just found it kind of dull. You could tell that the developers were clearly passionate about this game, but maybe just needed a little bit more time to cook. I feel like the UI needed a huge overhaul, the online was super laggy, which is kind of nuts because the lobbies were just filled with bots. And that is definitely not what people took from that video. The main thing that people were saying besides skill issue was because I was playing on the Nintendo Switch. And I get it, the Switch is really underpowered. But too underpowered for this? But let's see. I got this game on my PC and my Steam Deck, so I'm gonna be answering a few questions. Is Hypercharge Unboxed actually good? What does it do right? What does it f up? Did the developers update this game enough in the past 3 years to change my mind? And most importantly, does Hypercharge Unboxed deserve a second chance? Let's find out. So one thing I didn't remember was the music. This theme has this kind of otherworldly vibe, like I'm caught in a trance. I don't know why this kind of music is in a game like this, but I f***ing like it. I should get my friends to trip to this music.
Oh, that is the last time I take baby Benadryl. Oh. But the music is good.
Usually video game music for me has been pretty forgettable lately, and this fell in that camp for a little while. But then I noticed I was humming the theme and the songs from Hypercharge Unboxed when I was at work or going to sleep, so kudos to you guys for making some good songs. And this game looks amazing on PC. I wish they maybe did something a little different, like a cel-shaded art style, but that might also take away from the fact that these are toys and kind of ruin that immersion. One major issue I had with this game is that the lobbies would be completely filled with bots, and this just made the online matchmaking pointless. Also, my matches disconnect online a fair amount of times, but I can't really blame Hypercharge for this, as I find the same problem on Halo whenever I'm on my PC, so I'll just take that as me rather than the game. And here it's not as prevalent, as when it dropped on Xbox, they updated the game to have crossplay. And I think the crossplay completely saves the online here. Now, I don't really give a shit anymore if I'm playing an online game and there are bots in the lobby, but when that lobby is completely filled with bots, just might as well play it offline, you know? But hey, that's what the single player campaign is for, right? So, another top comment I kept getting was that Digital Cyber Cherries is adding in a single player campaign, so this was one of the first things I checked out, and what the f is this? This is just King of the Hill with a comic book cutscene drawn in between each level for every level. You really couldn't have made like a semi-compelling story? This was a header they put on their Steam store page, and now this looks completely disingenuous. I feel like I could have gotten a similar vibe if I played offline, captured the battery, and watched Super Soldiers, or whatever the movie's called. So at first, I found the single player to be painfully easy, but with each level, it progressively got more challenging, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's better that it's labeled in the game as adventure and not campaign. It just seems more fitting. But now I want to make things a little more interesting and see how this plays on the Steam Deck. Wow, I'm not even kidding. This might be my preferred way to play. Something about playing a toy on a handheld device just feels right. This is how I wanted Hypercharge to play all those years ago on Switch. So one thing that I noticed playing this version of Hypercharge Unboxed is that the controls are very different from other shooters out there. It seems like this has potential to actually be a really innovative control scheme. The biggest thing is just sprinting with the left bumper, jumping with the right. It's weird as f at first, but super easy to get the hang of later on. I like how I don't need to take my thumb off the sticks in order to jump, but then I also lose the ability to shoot. And also I've noticed there's no throwables in this game at all, and that's kind of weird. Like, when's the last time you played a shooter and you didn't have grenades, flash bombs, trip mines? Just weird. But here, that's not much of an issue either, just because of the map design.
This map design so hard!
Fitting in these tight crevices between boxes or under shelves. Things usually considered a nuisance in the way, like an open oven, becomes an obstacle to traverse over. The messy bed becoming almost a labyrinth to crawl through. I love this. You get these different perspectives on things, and it's a damn good time going through all of these maps. They also have this insane verticality here.
So I gotta preface here. I'm used to games like Call of Duty and Halo for my online shooters. They have great maps, don't get me wrong, but something about the maps here feel way more special. And I'm also just completely unfamiliar with games like Apex or Fortnite. I've played them like a little bit, maybe 5 hours with both games combined. So I don't think I have enough experience to really garner an opinion on those games. And I just want to paint a picture of my experience in your brain, because my unfamiliarity with these games makes Hypercharge's maps exceptional. Being able to kill opponents when they're on the ground and you're jumping from the top of a shelf is just f***ing crazy. And everyone is constantly moving. In my time playing Hypercharge Unboxed, even on the Switch, I never once saw anybody camping for more than 5 seconds, and that was just like someone just getting their bearings and infection. And that's great because these maps incentivize movement over anything else. Camping is a detriment. And it's also just so fun to check out what these maps have in store for you. And I don't think I've played maps in a game this good since like Halo Reach, Titanfall 2, Splitgate.
Oh god, am I starting to like this game? And now onto the characters. There we go.
So, being toys, you have a ton of options to choose from. And I really like playing as this soldier guy. He kind of reminds me of like a ODST clone trooper. And they also have like knights, dinosaurs, bugs, Ryu, Barbie.
Hey, I'm Judy. I drive a Subaru Outback, and I love watching the WNBA.
But I wish that these different toys had their own different, you know, weapons, flair, animations, just something to kind of differentiate them. I want a little bit more pizzazz.
And really quick, if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The more support I get on these, the more I can make this a full-time gig and put out more videos. And if you're really enjoying this, join the Discord for free down below. But anyways, back to the video. Everyone starts off with the same assault weapon in a match.
Even starts? Cool.
But the idea of each toy playing slightly differently to give each player their own meta sounds far more compelling in my opinion. It's probably a balancing issue, but it'd still be dope. So I've been playing the Steam version of Hypercharge Unboxed this entire time. I think it's time to take a look back at the Switch version. The UI is basically identical to that of 3 years ago. The controls are back to what they used to be, and no one is playing online.
Did they not add campaign or crossplay to Hypercharge Unboxed on Switch? The thing that they've been boasting about this game for a few years now?
I mean, it looks like they didn't. This all looks way too familiar. I want to check out my footage from 3 years ago, actually. So, get my footage pulled up right there. And as you can see, it's from 2021. Playing right here on the screen. Take a look at my Switch right now. They're the same version. Digital Cyber Cherries didn't update Hypercharge Unboxed for 3 years? Why?
So right here, as you see, these are the minimum requirements you need to run Hypercharge Unboxed on PC. You really couldn't have made this run on the Switch? There are so many games with specs similar to these, and they run perfectly fine on the Switch, so what's Hypercharge's excuse? Okay, yeah, maybe those games have higher budgets, more experienced teams, or maybe they can more easily afford a porting studio to port their games onto Switch. But I don't know, man, will versus skill, they could have done way better than this. Imagine if Digital Cyber Cherries really took the time to build Hypercharge Unboxed as the premier Switch shooter. And plus think, Hypercharge Unboxed, the Switch, they both appeal to these family-friendly demographics. This just seems like a no-brainer to me.
And weirdly enough, Hypercharge Unboxed isn't even on PlayStation. They announced a PlayStation version a few years back, but it's still not here. It's still some bullshit that the Switch version is so far back.
If the Crysis Trilogy, Dying Light, Doom can all run perfectly fine on the Switch, I don't think Hypercharge Unboxed has any excuse. And yeah, you're probably thinking, ooh, but those are AAA major studios. This is just an indie team. Look at Bright Memory Infinite. This runs perfectly on Switch, and this is developed by one person. Okay, yeah, it's got a stupid story and it's only like an hour long, But this is one f***ing guy.
I couldn't find out what this game sold on Switch, but it clearly must have done well enough to garner the attention of Microsoft to have a full marketing campaign for the release on Xbox. Hypercharge Unboxed on Switch is $20, Steam is $25, and Xbox is $30. And you'll see this go on sale for maybe $5 off max. Now, I don't want to argue about the price model they have here, but just why is it different on each platform? I think there is a ton of content here to warrant the price, but only for Steam and Xbox. Not really so much on Switch. Digital Cyber Cherries announced that the crossplay and the campaign are going to be added at a later day, but dude, who knows when that's going to happen?
At first, I did find the $25 and the $30 price tags a little egregious. I would have said maybe wait for a sale to drop, but even $30 for this game, that's a really good price.
You get a gaggle of content here, and the best part, no microtransactions. You can pay for certain characters through DLC, but that's completely optional. From what I've seen, there isn't a roadmap with blanket statements, just a solid game. And I find myself actually wanting to play this game, not just for this video, but to have fun and relax. This completely takes me back to the glory days of gaming when I was in middle school, playing Halo 3 Reach with my buddies online.
The more I'm talking about this, the more I'm just kind of reminded of classic Halo. There's fun maps, even starts, similar game modes too, and your character in Halo is basically a toy, so the fact that you're playing a toy in Hypercharge Unboxed is kind of fitting, and the customization. Yeah, it's not Halo Reaches, that's like the gold standard. No one is living up to that. Not even Halo Infinite is living up to that. And I know I said that I wish that they had their own unique flair to the different toy that you select, but what you get here is still pretty good. I'd say even better than Halo Infinite's.
I'm also realizing now a huge reason why I didn't like this game in the past. Back in 2021, I was on the search for a game similar to Call of Duty on Switch, and Hypercharge Unboxed was always tossed in the conversations as Call of Duty but with a Toy Story flair. This game is not Call of Duty. It's nothing like Call of Duty. It's more like Halo. And even comparing it to Halo feels like I'm undermining Hypercharge Unboxed. Digital Cyber Cherries developed a game that's completely unique with its own identity. I'm only comparing Hypercharge to Halo just because it makes me feel the way Halo did when I first played it.
The lack of roadmaps, monetization schemes, just a simple boot up and play game that everyone can understand. You can't beat that.
I cannot stress enough that when you buy Hypercharge Unboxed, you're buying a complete game. You don't need to wait on updates to fix glitches. There's no battle pass to buy into to unlock cosmetics. No stupid bullshit that a lot of modern shooters are doing that annoy us gamers like I said earlier. This is a complete purchase, and I hate how this is a breath of fresh air. This is what games are meant to be.
And that is seen crystal clear with the fact that 100,000 people bought Hypercharge Unboxed. And that's not downloads, mind you. Well, technically it is because there's not a physical of this game, it's just digital, but not Game Pass. This game isn't even on Game Pass. 100,000 Xbox gamers whipped out their dad who works at Microsoft's credit card, put in those 16 digits, the expiration date, and that funny 3-digit code on the back, and bought Hypercharge Unboxed. And I think that the Steam version sold about on par with that. This is the only thing I could find to show how many people bought it, but I don't know how reliable this is. And the Switch version, pfft, Digital Cyber Cherries won't even talk about the Switch version. And I'm really proud of the developers here. Not many can say that they've had a success story like this, so hats off to you. And Digital Cyber Cherries is only made up of 6 developers. So, did Digital Cyber Cherries do it? Did they make that good product? And I actually did enjoy it when I played it a few years ago. There were some clear issues, but overall it just felt like a beta test. It definitely needed more time to cook in the oven, so it was just overall fine, I guess. And before fully purchasing the Steam version, I just downloaded the demo to see if it had a similar feel. But the demo was also kind of boring, but then I'm not really giving it a full chance because you don't get that much with the demo anyway. After putting a few hours into Hypercharge Unboxed, I gotta say, I really like this game.
Yeah, the player count is a little low. Controls are kind of weird at first, but you get the craziest map scene in multiplayer shooters in years. An innocent, chaotic fun that harkens back to the glory days of gaming we thought were once dead, and all for a solid price. There's a very little barrier to entry and a unique selling point that makes it appeal to everybody. There isn't any kill streaks, death streaks, things that just complicate the game. The gameplay stands on business on its own. No funky or honestly questionably moral gimmicks to keep you addicted. I can't wait to see what the future holds for Hypercharge Unboxed. Maybe we see some new toys. Let's see their version of Legos, game modes like Team SWAT, maybe attrition from Halo Infinite. Hell, I think like a smaller scale battle royale with a bunch of toys in the house would be really sick too. What if it was like the entire house and everyone who lived in the house, mom, dad, brother, sister, they're all cleaning a room in the house and you had to hide the fact that you were a living toy? So you just all go to one part of the house and just duke it out at the end. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but that seems pretty cool to me. If you're in the market for a new shooter, give Hypercharge Unboxed a look. I'm happy that I gave Hypercharge Unboxed a second chance, and I think you'll really enjoy this game too. If you want to see what I originally thought of this game, click the video right there.